We have a very interesting class today, topic. So here on a slide behind me, I put here the official name of the class for the recorder. On top, you see the name of the entire series. It says Noah's 7th commandment and the book of Genesis. And we made a survey on the classes at the beginning, and we said we're going to go throughout the book of Genesis, and as it presents us the commandment one by one. It's a divine book, and it turned out to be designed, so to speak, for the 7th commandment, because it goes from one commandment to the other. We describe it in the first class survey. And of course, the first class will be on idolatry. So you see there on the slide, Noah's first commandment and idolatry and chapter 1. So amazingly, the book of Genesis begins with a description of God and creation and Adam. And actually, the only thing it presents there, as far as relates to the commandment, is idolatry. And we said at the moment, when just to remind you, when God says, let us make Adam in plural, it opened up the door for idolaters to err. Well, we'll go back to that later on. We'll see what kind of idols are involved. But in principle, it's not enough just to know the idols. We need to know God. Because it's not enough just to be neutral. I'm not gonna worship idols, but I'm not gonna worship anyone. It's not gonna work. If you don't worship God, if you don't recognize God, you will surely fall a prey to the idols. When I say idols, I'm not saying about foolish wood stone statue or something like, or trees, or we'll talk about what is covered by idols. We are built, we said, to face idolatry, because in the same word that God created us, he said, let us make Adam in our form, in our image. That's when he made us. At the same time, he opened the door for idolatry. So he made us to face a trial of idolatry. So idolatry is not just another commandment like theft, do not steal, do not murder. No, idolatry stands out as the very issue, that the very trial that we are born into. So obviously, it's more than just worshiping foolish stuff. It's much more. It's a battle between being attracted to God or being attracted to the idols. And so why did God made us like this? Does he have anything else to do? Why did he put us in trial like that? Well, we said already that Adam, that's a class 1, you see on the slide. We may talk about it. Adam was made, or the God, or the name of God, that the name of the Creator who created the heaven and earth is Elohim in Hebrew, which means a judge, Almighty Judge. So the message of Genesis 1 is when a nameless creator who is above our conception, we cannot identify, we cannot even conceive in our human mentality or mind, we cannot perceive the real essence of God. But we can perceive its function. So the Torah is telling us that at the time that He created the universe and He created us, He sat on a throne of judgment. He acted like a judge. On other occasions, for instance, just before making Adam, He moved to another chair, which is a chair of mercy and compassion, which is different from Elohim. But at the time of creation, when He created nature, the 6 days, the heaven and earth, He sat on a throne as a judge. Now we need to identify what kind of judgment what kind of judgment He makes, what sort of a judge He is, because we all of us are still under that scrutiny. He made us to stand the judgment. That's the basic of Rosh Hashanah holiday. Rosh Hashanah, is a anniversary of creation, of the story. No wonder that we say in a synagogue, the whole prayer is devoted to the idea that today God ascend again on the throne of judgment, and He judges us. So we all stand in judgment, even the mosquito, even the black hole. The whole universe stands in judgment. Why? Because He said He created it for judgment, because He's a judge. So again, where are we now? We are now, we need to understand idolatry. To comply with the idolatry commandment, we need to know who are the idols. We will devote time for that later on. As we move to the creation of Adam, we'll see how Adam is created with the idols on God's minds. We are built to face those idols. So we'll have opportunity to talk about the idols. And He will cover all the idols in the universe. Amazingly. All from that chapter. And now, but it's not enough, He said. We need to also, not enough not to abandon the idols. It's not less important to know whom should we worship. So here we are. We already know now that Elohim, God, we need to recognize Elohim. And we understand that we are born to stand in trial. So what are the features of Elohim? In the book here that I wrote last time, it says Genesis first chapter and Noah first law. I go in more elaborate way. I discuss it in more detail. But here, the main thing about Elohim, the attribute of judgment that we need to know, we must know. We must remember it for the rest of our life. That Elohim, who still judges today, even today, Elohim is the absolute judge, the judge that goes with the absolute justice. He doesn't recognize mercy. Mercy belongs to another attribute. When Elohim created nature, He sat on the throne of a judgment that knows no mercy. Look around us. The tsunami, the volcano, the earthquake don't know any mercy. So Elohim created it without any mercy. This is a feature of Elohim, but with absolute justice. Because you eat. When you eat, you kill another animal. And in time, you pay the due. You are eaten by somebody else. So it's a measure for measure. He pay because of is a just God. Is a just judge. He pays retribution in exact fashion. Pharaoh threw the children to the Nile. The children of Israel to the Nile. Well, No wonder he himself was thrown in the water. Who saw that? Yitro, the first Noahide. Yitro, the father-in-law of Moses, that's what struck him when he came to Moses. And the Torah says he heard. The Rashi says, what did he hear? That Pharaoh was drawn by water. Oh, he said, that's it. He paid his due. Measure for measure. And Elohim put people for trial, like Abraham with the bounding of Isaac. Who tell Abraham to bind his son on the altar? It's Elohim, but no mercy. And before a trial, Abraham passed so many trials by Elohim. Otherwise, if you don't appreciate that, if you don't know that, you can ask, why did the good God put Abraham in trial? The question falls apart if you pay attention to the text that says, oh, Elohim put him on trial. Who saved him from the trial is another attribute. There was a clash there between two attributes. We'll talk about it. So again, Elohim is a judge who acts for measure, retribution. He is wise. He built the universe with a head, with the wisdom. How do I know it? Because it says, the Torah says, at the head of the event. It doesn't say at the beginning. In English, it says at the beginning, God created heaven and earth. In Hebrew, it's at the head of the event, Elohim created heaven and earth. So the Kabbalah and Rabbi said, the head of the event, he built the universe with a head, with wisdom. The wisdom of Elohim, it's all over. All over, from the DNA, from the multitude of creatures. What kind of wisdom? Interesting. There is different type of wisdom. Scientific wisdom, and there is a general conception, which is called Chokhmah, but there is a more particular wisdom, it's called Bina. Bina is going to detail, to elaborate, to derive things one from the other, in minute detail. Like you see in nature, so billion of species going up from another, one to another. That's the wisdom of Elohim. It's amazing how everything fits here. Kabbalah says Elohim is Bina, which is not Chokhmah. Chokhmah is more general term of wisdom. Bina is going to detail, and that is a practical, making it on the ground. So Chokhmah, Bina, that is Chabad. The famous Chabad movement come from here. They try to learn Torah in the three dimensions, Chokhmah, Bina, and that. And Elohim is the Bina, going to detail. You see, it's also that this wisdom is not only in nature, with so many zillion of species and varieties, but also in judgment, in the law. Do you know the law, especially the Talmud, let's say, endless discussion of there is a law. Now there's so many different aspects of the law. We're going to detail, and from detail they split to more detail. And there is a commentary, and as a generation pass by, we learn more and more the endless, the variety of small things that, small detail, minute detail that come out from the law. And that's the wisdom of Elohim in the law. He's a judge and a builder of nature. So you see his wisdom in nature and in the justices, in the law. He gave us the mind to decipher those tiny things. That's why the law is endless, it's spreading out. It's because come from him to detail. Okay, there is much more. I want to kind of emphasize the main thing about Elohim. Of course, is merciless, but at the same time is also the provider. He's the one who gave to any creature whatever is necessary to thrive. He gave the bird the wing to fly, and he gave the crocodile the tooth to bite, and he gave us the mind. So he's a provider, and he makes sure that every creature lives in his habitat and thrive in his habitat. So he's a kind. It doesn't work with compassion or mercy or forgiveness. That's another attribute. But he's a provider, wise and provider. He's kind, but they don't ask for him mercy. If you sin, you stand before God, not before God, before Elohim, you don't ask for mercy from him. He is not going to listen to you. There's another attribute, and we'll talk about it. But Elohim, every time you see the word Elohim in the Torah, refer to that kind of attribute. This is a signature of truthfulness. His nickname is truth, because it's a just attribute, and he seeks the truth, the justice. He is also seeking the truth. The Rabbi said his signature is truth. For instance, since his name appeared 32 times in chapter 1, in 6 days, unbelievable time. There is no chapter in the Bible that contains so many times the name of Elohim. 32 times in just few verses. He said that, Elohim said that, let it be this, and then judge. And so 32 times is everything. So, and every time a name appears, here is a signature of truthfulness. So the story of Genesis must be true. Because if you discredit the 6 days story, you discredit Elohim. And if you discredit Elohim, you discredit the whole Bible. So the story of Genesis must be true. We are going to see if this is true, if you can vouch for it. So, so we said he's wise, he's just, he's exact, he pay back in exact fashion. He build the nature in exact fashion. That's why we can discover the law of nature, even mathematics. They're so precise. You cannot change the weight of the atom even a little bit, and you get a different universe. The universe is elegant and precise, and work by precise laws because Elohim built it. This is a feature of Elohim that you build with precise. So, after saying that at the beginning or the head of the event, Elohim created heaven and earth, that's the headline of chapter 1. Then Moses continues telling you what happened in the 6th day. That Elohim now is described as a builder of 6-story building, and the nature is 6-story building by 6 days. And at the end of each day, the builder comes and checks to see if the day is good or not. What does it mean, good? Good here is no moral connotation. Good here is in the eyes of the builder, which means there is a plan. Elohim, the builder, had a plan, and he wants to see if the floor that he built, or that level of that day, with capital D, day of creation, if it really fits the plan. So if he had a plan, it means he was building the universe with a goal. What kind of goal? Let's say maybe put the goal was perhaps to put us on earth. It took him so long to put us. Well, for us it looks long. For him it's nothing. 13.5 billion years is nothing for him. But he built it 6 days. At the end of each day, he came and checked to see if it's good. At the end of the first day, he said, and Elohim saw that it was good. It was morning and evening. Day one was over. But here's the point. Whenever I make a judgment on a day, and he said it was good, it also means that something was good, means can survive, can go on. You can go on to the next day. And if not, that day would be destroyed, eliminated. Or it could be that a day or some creature were good for a certain period, certain phase of the building. Later on, they were not needed, so they were discarded like a scaffold that is not useful anymore. So remember, every time you make a judgment, and he said it was good, usually at the end of the day, then there is an option of being not good. And the dinosaurs were eliminated because at one time they were good, but at the next day they couldn't support another day on top. So they couldn't support us, for instance. We couldn't live by the dinosaurs. So there was a decision to eliminate them without mercy. He gives life, and he has a right to take the life away. He walks by efficiency, moving towards a goal. It's a very important concept to understand that there are two options. If you don't, I mean, a day is good if you can support another day on top. Man was born on the 6th day, the moment of the 6th day. And we are also good or not. We are also judged to be if we are good or not. If we are good, we will see the next day, which is a Sabbath, which is an eternal Sabbath. Each day is an era. It can be billion of years. So the next day of creation is the 7th. To get there, we need to be good, at least. If you are not good, we will be eliminated, will not race like the dinosaurs. So we face the same fate, the same judgment. Okay, by Elohim. Well, don't tremble. He also used us when he built us. The Creator also used another attribute of mercy, compassion. That we have the option of. Unlike the dinosaurs, we have the option to repent, to ask forgiveness, to start all over again. Because we are born with the help of another attribute. But the dinosaurs were built only by Elohim. Therefore, they have no chance. They were not needed anymore. So they were eliminated. So we need to, I'm saying that because we need to get the feeling how the nature works and how Elohim built it, his feature, and how he judge. He's a builder and a judge, and he's merciless, but very efficient, and also kind because he provides life. But every creature stands the judgment one time in its life to see, not on a daily basis, but also in historical term, to see if the species is needed anymore or can be eliminated. And Elohim wouldn't hesitate to eliminate a day if it's not needed. As we said that, Rashi, the commentary of the Torah, Rashi. Elohim created worlds of days and he eliminated them. Okay, so as we spoke about, we understand now what is good in Elohim's eyes. It is a judge. But when you judge the nature, there is no, you cannot judge the dinosaur if they are morally good or not. They are not judged by moral terms because they don't have a mind for that. They are simply judged if they are needed for the next step of evolution or not. But mankind, since we have a mind and we're given Torah, we're given His law, and we understand morality, our judgment also involves moral issues. Unlike the mosquito and unlike we're all judged. But the judgment is a toil, is a build according to the creature ability. And our judgment is different. For instance, we are born to stand idolatry trial. If you fail idolatry trial, we don't see the next day. Rosh Hashanah, the only prayer in Rosh Hashanah, only prayer that you find in the prayer book in Rosh Hashanah is the end of idolatry. You see, we are standing on good ground when we're saying that. Rosh Hashanah is a universal judgment, including mankind, and we pray for what? For the end of idolatry. We don't pray for the end of theft or bloodshed or the end of adultery. We pray for the end of idolatry because mankind is built, chapter 1, to face that trial. And Rosh Hashanah is based on chapter 1. Everything in chapter 1. From the beginning to the end. We are only the beginning now of the chapter. All right. So let's see. We have like half an hour. And the question is, as we move on, okay, I just said that Elohim is truthful. Signature is a proof of truthfulness. If you see his name in a text somewhere saying something, it must be true. So since his name appeared 32 times in the story of Genesis, wow, it must be true. If you ask people on the street, is Genesis, the story of Genesis true? You say, no, that's an ancient myth. Cannot be. You cannot, the Torah says it's 1 week, only 5,000 years ago. We know the universe from science, we know better. Most people, 90%, 99% perhaps around the globe, tend to discard the whole Bible away because of this problem with Genesis, because they perceive it as negating science. Most students in the United States, colleges, there was a survey recently, and they admitted that the thing that pushed them away from the Bible is the story of Genesis. They couldn't cope with it. Oh, the rabbi said it is allegorically, there is a holy beast, don't take the story literally. No, but people take it literally and they compare it to science. And lo and behold, science says completely different story. Okay, so I have here what the science says. I think it's a reverse because of the camera here. I don't want to spoil the picture. So you see the reverse mirror image, but this is a video made by History Channel. And it says, it was published a few years ago, how the earth was made. I recommend that every one of us should read it, the history, how the earth was made. Video by History Channel. It's just pleasure to watch. Pleasure. It summarizes you. I remember it was aired on TV, that's why I saw it. And it summarized in artistic form everything you know from science about the history of the universe from the 30.5 years ago until today. Based on everything you know from science, archaeology, biology, biology, astronomy, everything is there, physics, everything is there. They did a wonderful job. Not only that, and the video starts by bragging. The narrator there says, okay, from now, he said, for thousands of years, people believe that the universe is only 5,000 years, built in 1 week. Let me tell you what really went on. And he goes on and I tell a story. There's a few hour stories here, and it goes in detail. You are hooked to it when you watch it. It describes day by day, there's no days. We describe the history of the universe, of our planet, the whole evolution from phase to phase, and bragging about not being different from the Bible, but in much detail. And it's beautiful to watch. Only that, when I watch it, I fell on the floor. The guy was actually, without paying attention, what he was saying is really a repetition of what Moses is saying. I couldn't believe it. So I watched it again and again and again and again, until I know it by heart now. And I could actually, whatever he says, I could find really, Moses said it. I'll give you an example. I'm not going to go into detail. In the book here that we published at the end of last class, Genesis, first chapter, and Noah, first floor. You find it in Amazon. So here in the book, I gave a more elaborate, detailed comparison between this video and Genesis. I went to detail here. Now we're going to do it in a very short, concise way, mainly to see what Moses is saying and what History Channel is saying, to see if they match. And you tell. I leave it to you to tell. You have the same mind as mine, if not better. So here's what I'm reading now from Genesis. Okay, we read in very short, quickly. We read what Moses is saying day by day, 6th day, and we compare it what this History Channel is saying. History Channel won't call it a day; you call it a phase. And even give it a name, even give it 6 names. By the way, before I start, how long is creation, day of creation? The Rabbi came to conclusion long ago, about 1,000 years ago, if not more than that the day of creation has nothing to do with our day. The day with a capital D, and they calculated it. There is a Kabbalistic tradition on the average of 2.1 billion years is a day, times 6, we come to close to 13 billion years, which is exactly what science says about the age of the universe, 13.87 very close. In the book then, and again, in the book that I just showed you, that we publish on Amazon, I go there, I show how they calculated it. Here, I'm not going to spend time on that. It's enough to know that the rabbis long ago understood that day is not our day, and 5,000 years is only from Cain and Abel, from the story of Cain and Abel. But the first few chapters, the story of Genesis and the story of Eden, not included in the 5,000. It could take a long time in 6 days. It could have taken a long time. It took 13 billion years. Billion years. You know, think about it. We know how the earth looks now. You see it on TV, you see it on the camera, from a satellite, small, beautiful round ball with a blue envelope, and studied with light, human colonies, an airplane flying, beautiful. The earth didn't look like this. Billion of years. Earth looked completely different. And who tell me that? Moses. I don't know how could he know that? So let's see. 13th history of Earth, billion years. And we need to go over that to understand how truthful, how miraculous the book of Genesis is. It's a miracle in our hand. It's a Bible. It's a divine revelation. I cannot explain it. Who told it to Moses? Such a story. So let's see. Day one. At the beginning, Elohim created heaven and earth, and there was Tohu Vavohu, which means chaos and darkness and water. And God said, "War, and let it be light." And then it was a judgment at the end of the day. There was darkness and abyss. That's what Moses said on day one. Could last billion of years. What is History Channel saying? History Channel says, in short, that the earth was created. There was a beginning, Big Bang, and about 4.5 billion years ago, Earth looked like a round ball, red, hot, burning ball full of streaming lava, temperature of 8,000 Fahrenheit. No life, nothing. There was only darkness around it. There was water in space, and there was energy. Everything that Moses says here. Oh, light is energy, matter, chaos. So whatever Moses says here on day one, that's how finally that covered the period from the Big Bang until Earth is now formed as a globe, but a red planet. It doesn't look like today if you look from a satellite. Earth looks red planet with hot, streaming lava. It cooled down. We said that History Channel. So the phase is red planet, which start to cool down because radioactivity start to go down, he says, and crust, Earth developed a crust. At the end of this day, Moses says, at the end of day one, Elohim said it was good. He judged the day, and he decided it was good. Good means it could move on to the next day, which can fit there. Now, Earth came to the according to Moses, Earth came to a phase where it could move on to the next phase. It can be explained by the crust. If Earth was cooling down, form a crust that accumulates water on it. What does Moses say on the day two? So Elohim said, "Go, it's good. Let's move on to the next day." I'm ready. What is the next day? Elohim said, let the water gather from below the sky, and some water come from below, some water come from above, and that's it. Day 2 was over. Water. No life mentioned, no fish, nothing. Moses says simply day 2, water. What the science says, right after the earth was formed crust on it, they say, not me, earth passed through a segment in space full of water. It can identify today, they know where it is. And for 300 million years, 300 million years, Earth was bombarded by endless comet full of water, giant comet. Some of that still fall on Earth here and there, like in Siberia a few years ago. Full of water, tons of water. After 300 million years, Earth, the narrator says, Earth will never see such rain again. And you see the rain dropping there on the animation there. After 300 million years, Earth was covered now by ocean. It's ocean. Gray ocean, there's no atmosphere, and the sky is not blue, only water, gushing water. Earth, the water came from above, from a comet, and from below, from the solid rock that started cooling down. Who said that? They said. So can you find a better match for Moses to the science? How could Moses say that day 2, only water, nothing else? They call it the next phase. Now they call it the water world. Earth is now get a new name, water world. So from the red planet that cooled down became water world. Why did the Earth pass right there at the right time in this segment to accumulate water? Science cannot say. Moses said Elohim made it. So Elohim wanted to accumulate water on Earth. What Moses says, it makes sense more than the science, because science can explain it. So that's the second floor. Let's move on to day 3. Remember, Earth is covered by water, and Elohim said, day 3, according to Moses, day 3 down. There's no judgment here. Day 3 down. And Elohim said, let the dry land separate from the water. Boom. That's it. The day 3 continue, but the first phase of day 3, the third day, let the dry land appear. No life mentioned Moses, no fish in the water, temperature is still high. The atmosphere is not even atmosphere, just water. But dry land appeared. What does this say? What is this guy saying? What do they say? They say that somehow, we cannot explain why, but after 300 million of years that water came down, accumulated on Earth, suddenly there was a volcanic reaction in the plates of the archaeological plates. There was a volcanic eruption, and a new rock was formed, like granite, they call it. The granite can float on the water, accumulate on the water, and it's strong. You can stand the gush of water. And the first time, a continent, first an island, granite island, then a continent, Rodinia, is formed. Rodinia is bereft of any life. We know the outline of it because you can see a rock from Rodinia. They look black. They say The scientists go there in South Africa, pick up the stone and say, you see, those stones, the black stone, they don't have any life in it. They are from Rodinia, from that primordial dry land that appeared after on what Moses called third day. How did Moses know that before there was any fish, there was anything? The first thing out of the water suddenly came dry land, continent. So the matching what Moses is saying and what these people say are perfect. And then Moses go on to the second part of what he called day 3. But science simply says, well, let's continue the phase. They call it a phase. They call it, I think, they call it blue planet. Why? Because, let's see what Moses said, what came next. What after the separation, after the appearance of dry land that we understand now as the granite, Moses says, God said, let it be grass and trees and shrubs, vegetation. No moving animal. There are no fish and no bird, nothing. Only vegetation. And for billions of years, Earth was covered with vegetation. No moving animal. That's what Moses said. God seeded life on Earth in the form of vegetation. So the first life on Earth was vegetation, for seeds, tiny. What do they say? They say that the granite island, okay, the granite island were perfect because they have a sloppery border, and creature called stromatolite is one cell like algae settled there. Nobody can tell where it came from, but it was equipped with DNA. It was equipped with the DNA, RNA. It has all the information how to form protein. Where it came from, nobody knows. We know wisdom of Elohim did it, but scientists say yes. At that point, monocellular cells settle on the border, and those after millions of years, they develop into shrub, trees. Earth was covered by vegetation, and the monozoa had this monocellular creature had one talent: photosynthesis. They took the CO2 from Earth, from the sky, from the air. They split the CO2 to oxygen and carbon. The carbon they took for their own shell, and the oxygen they released. So after a million of years, oxygen starts popping up first in the water, and then bubbles, and the history shall show you. Bubbles in the water, and the bubbles flow up and accumulate in the air. Suddenly, after a million of years, we have atmosphere. Earth turned blue, dubbed as the blue Earth. So we have the red planet at the beginning, day 1. Day 2, the water planet, the water which fits what Moses said. Day 3, blue, they call it day 3, the whole phase. First dry land, then vegetation. And it's named now blue because it has atmosphere. No mobile life. Who told Moses that the vegetation was for so long on Earth without any mobile life? Did Pharaoh told him that? Did the Greek told him that? Did Aristotle know that? Did Newton know that? No. But he wrote it 3,500 years ago. Who told him that? Did the Japanese told him that? The Indians? The Babylonians? They have ugly story of our creation, full of sexual perversion, Father God killing Son God, resurrection of God, resurrection of the embryo, the son, and full of ugly sexual cutting the sexual organ of the father. I cannot, if I tell you the story, I will blush. I cannot tell you, so ugly they are. This is what they told about creation in Moses' time. And here Moses telling us that these guys confirm the first time in history. We know it's true. We know what Moses would mean. Let's move on. In detail, I put her in the book in more detail, but let's move on just the idea. So we come at the end, how interesting. Moses said, how did the day 3 end? Here is the point. Moses said it didn't happen, it didn't stop just by that. Day 3 says Elohim judged the day and it was good. It means good means, remember that good was some creature were good to follow, but those who were not good anymore were eliminated. Anytime Elohim make a judgment like that, he said it's good. What is good, move on to the next thing. But what is not good is eliminated. What the science says, how the era was ended. The scientists say that the ice age descended on Earth. So it lasted 50 to 60 million years. 60 million years. It killed all the vegetation on Earth, leaving it in the water. So what was in the water, Elohim said it's good, it can survive. But it was on Earth, it was eliminated. And it said it looked like the vegetation, life would be gone, it almost eliminated. Yet life was kept miraculously in the water, under the cover of ice. Let's see the importance of that. Elohim said it's good. It means whatever was left is good for the next phase. So now day 4, let's move on to day 4. What happened? Moses said day 4. Moses said that day 4, the earth saw the first time, not that the sun and moon, people make mistake. The thing that the sun and moon were created on day 4. He says, day 4, Moses says, let there be seen on earth. So the first time that earth, the sun and moon were seen on earth in a regular fashion, he said, so regularly the seasons are established because its axis of earth is now established, and day and night, and calendar so precise they are. So from now on, the calendar can be set up. That's what Moses said. What does this guy say? That the ice actually was caused by the Earth's axis tilting, and the axis established itself so much that the day of night became established, and it supported life in the water in a certain way. I don't know if there is any better match between Moses and the science. So much. Moses tells you here is a phase, which we call day 4, that no creature are born, but the day and night. It took Earth billions of years under the ice ball. They call it the ice ball age. Earth, there is a picture of Earth in space looking like tennis ball, ice ball, for 60 million years, and it took Earth under the ice to establish, not to wobble anymore, so that seasons were established, tide could settle in, and day of night, and that's important for mobile life. The science says, scientists say now that the day and night being equal, being fixed, help the nervous system to develop. Nervous system need to switch from night to day, to sleep, to revive itself. So the circadian, I make it short, the circadian cycle established for any creature, so that Moses says now, after day 4 is over, what comes next? Moses says, fish. And God said, let the fish abundant, bless them, be fruitful, abundant fish. It doesn't say to any other creature beside mankind. Fish, abundant fish in the water. Who told Moses that the first mobile life was formed in the water? Why not on the head of the tree? No, in the water. And science said exactly those living under the ice, protected deep in the water, being the season, the stabilization, day and night helps to develop worms, tiny worms, mobile life, which needs nervous system, and life exploded. I'm quoting them. Life exploded in the water. They call it circadian or Cambodian era. It lasted 100 million of years in the water. The life kingdom, animal kingdom came on earth in the water. The first eye, the first nose, the first ears, the fish, the predator, the talent to disguise yourself. From creatures who want to prey on you and to fool your prey. All that moral issue of eating and being eaten, all that develop in the water. So many weird creatures that Earth, quoting them, so many weird creatures, they show you the weird skeleton of those creatures that are gone now, exploding in the water. And only the water, because nothing was on Earth, nothing could move on on the land because of UV bombardment. Who said that? They said only water. But Moses says after day 5, after fish came bird. Some of the fish on the water, on the tide, the tide threw some fish on the shore, and after millions of years, those fish on the shore wanted to go back to the water. They developed, so to speak, the wing. So they soar on the water to catch other fish. So Earth was covered by huge birds and also by insects. And in time, the ozone layer allowed the vegetation to move on the dry land. Swamps, crocodile, giant lizard. Some of the lizards could fly 15,000 miles non-stop. Some of the U.S. Air Force jet, military jet are made along those design of those lizards. They want to copy. They are the most fascinating flying feature ever lived on Earth. And U.S. Air Force tried to emulate those creatures in those jets. That's what I read. So swamps, swamp United States, some of them can remind you the life, our Earth looked like this, those days. Crocodile. Who said that? Moses said it. Moses said bird and fish, bird and crocodile. All the coal that we have today come from that area. Huge vegetation, swamps, and this kind of life full of flying insect to their kind. Moses said it, confirmed by these guys, and it ended up But again, it was a judgment. I make it short. Moses said the area was ended with a judgment. Elohim passed judgment. You already know. If he passed judgment, some were eliminated, some were allowed to move on. They say that the area is gone because it was an explosion. I tell you when it happened so many millions of years ago, explosion of gas that exploded, killed most of the animals on earth and in the water. But whatever left was good for the next year. More sophisticated animal. Day 6 came on, and Moses says now, God Elohim made cattle, then beasts that feed on the cattle, and then snake. I'll tell you about the snake, and then man. Okay, that's the same thing. That's Pangea, the animal of the Zorayatic Park. It's 6 days. The huge cattle that's in the swamp, and then came the hunter, the dinosaurs that fed on them, the beast. And what about the snakes? Yes, they found the snakes after the demise of the dinosaurs. Earth was ruled by giant snakes that they showed on Time magazine, one of them, skeleton, that you can accommodate 2 Greyhound bus in a skeleton. And this was a junior snake. Imagine those creatures moving around after the dinosaur was gone 60 million years ago. And then God said, let it make Adam. Okay, now we move to making Adam. So far, I don't know how can anyone in his mind read it and see how Moses miraculously match what we know from science. I mean, you need to know who the king was dated. A day is not our day, and a day is an area, and it's a building, and God made it, and He made it for a goal to bring Adam on earth. It took him so many billion years to make us. How precious we are in His eyes. He did all this work to bring us. Of course, there are forces of evolution. I didn't speak about it, but all these forces of evolution and genetic and DNA, all that is wisdom. Call it DNA, call it whatever. DNA is a computer. Who put it there? Code. So there is a perfect match of the story of Genesis to science. And instead of being shy away from it, they say, oh no, it's allegorical story, it's a holy beast, it's some other word. The Bible is only meant to tell us, don't tell us history, all these things that are my rabbis used to tell me, because they didn't know science. And for years I thought also that allegorically, don't take it literally. Who pay attention to the story of Genesis? Nobody. It's just a myth. Oh, it's not a myth. It's a truthful story that Elohim will put a stamp on it. It's truthful 32 times. It's a magic. So why did Moses write it? For us, I believe. He knew that the generation will come and doubt his message, but say the Bible is not true. And he put out a story. Nobody could understand the story as we do it now, the first time ever. He probably knew it. I mean, people did know science. People who lived in the 16th century, 15th century, or 10th century, or whatever, even the Rambam, even great rabbi, they didn't know science. They couldn't understand it. So they say it's allegorically. But he knew. He wrote it for us. He's a prophet. He knew that a generation will come, and we need support. He need to prove. They will seek a proof. you know, if this story is true, it's so truthful, then wow, it's a miracle. Think about it. The Torah the Bible is really a miracle. Cannot really explain it otherwise. So it's the only miracle that I have in my mind, in my hand, that I cannot doubt. I can doubt the Exodus. I can doubt somebody walking on the water. I don't make a miracle. I don't know. I know the story, but I have no proof of it. Here, I don't need the proof. I just open the book and I read it, and I open this video and I see it, and I compare the two. I have the proof in my hand. It's a real thing. I don't need Kabbalah, and I don't need the giant rabbis to tell me all kind of things, and I don't need to seek the afterlife. This is a true story for us, and this is actually the message of Noahide, that the Noahide should focus on real life on earth, on truth, and not talking. Kabbalah is nice, all kind of stories about Neshama, but this. First of all, the Torah is a real life on earth, so society. Now, of course, Moses is not finishing here. He only come now to the real message about man. He wants to tell us how man is being made and for what purpose. And I can tell, if the beginning of the story is so right, if it's truthful for the sixth day, for nature, and explain nature to me, and he knows nature more than anybody else, what he's saying about man is also true, must be true. So this truthful story he placed there to tell us, listen, boys, listen, girls, I'm going to tell you to you in your science, you will find it true. Now I'm going to tell you about mankind, and listen to what I'm saying you, because it's the same truth in mankind. All right.